Hello again, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator, and I just love sharing the cards that I learned to make with others. Today I'm sharing with you what I'm referring to as a simple pop-up diorama card. And I'll give you the step-by-step tutorial for how I put this card together. I got the idea from a swap. I often participate in swaps with other demonstrators, and this swap was sent to me from Bonnie Montano Ortiz. She's out of Denver, Colorado, and I loved the floating dragonfly and just the simple card, and it folds flat so you can mail it easily. It's not bulky, and just loved her card, but wanted to kind of think of how I could use it with the stamps that I have. And I had not used my positive thoughts or my nature's thoughts dies at all. I thought I was going to use them. You know how that works sometimes. You buy things and you think you're going to. And so this is the card that I came up, and I want to show you how simple this really is to put together. So what you need to make this card, I've got a number of supplies sitting here. You will want a half a sheet of cardstock. This was cut at 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, so it's cut on the long side with a skinny top and bottom and folding in the middle. You're going to score that at 5 1/2, so from this way, 5 1/2, and then again at 9 3/4 of an inch. You'll need a second piece of the same color cardstock, cut 4 1/4 inches by only 5 1/4 inches. And this time you're going to score only 1/2 an inch from both ends, which ends up being at 1/2 and 4 3/4. And all these measurements I will have on my blog, justalittleink.com. And if you're going to order any supplies, you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And you can do that anytime at my website, justalittleink.stampinup.net. And if you would use the host code, it's good through the end of July for any orders that are under $150. If you're using the host code, you don't want to use it if you're going 150 or more, because you'll get host benefits. So continuing on with what you will need, you'll need a neutral cardstock cut 4 inches square, so 4 by 4, that we will stamp to go on in the back side to give you some interest. And then I've cut another piece of basic white cardstock. Oh goodness, I can't even tell you what it's measured. Let's just find out. So 4 inches by 4 1/2 inches, and this is what we're going to stamp on. And then I also have a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock that I cut with the largest scallop die from the Layering Circles dies. So I'm also using this set of dies. And so what you'll end up doing, I want to kind of show you how we cut things. So on this piece that we've scored that 1/2 inch on both ends with the bump up, because we're going to fold them this direction. I think I'm here. Yeah, I'm thinking here. I want to line up. This is the second largest thinlet, or not thinlet. It's the second largest regular die from the Layering Circles. And what I found worked the best, I'm a little anal when it comes to lining things up. If you have 5/8 of an inch on the opening spaces, use a little piece of washi. You don't want to push it down too hard yet. Verify that you are 5/8 of an inch on this end, and it's close. Doesn't have to be exact, but you want it pretty close. Turn it. Make sure you're about 5/8 of an inch. I am here. And how close am I over here? Really close. So then I could take and put some more washi, stick it here. I'm going to run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, of which I have already done, so that then I have my opening in the front of my card. The other thing that you will do is I don't want a solid scallop. So I'm going to line it up on the edge so that I cut that same size circle from the scallop center and run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And when I do, I will end up with just a circle frame that can then go on the front of my card. I put some of our adhesive sheets on the back. You wouldn't have to, you could use some glue, but I just find sometimes it's just easier. So I'm gonna pull that out, use my pick tool. I'm going to line up on the front. Gives me just a nice kind of a border around the front of my card. So then I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of my little different images. So I used Calypso Coral for my flower. All of these images have a die that coordinates with them. So I'm going to stamp there, get that one. I don't think I have any others in that color. And then the leaves were stamped in Mossy Meadow. A little piece, I didn't tell you about that. You need a little 1/4 inch by about 3 inches of some window sheet. So it's cutting it way down. Okay, so I'm also going to cut out some of the, I'm going to use this one. And then I also will need, for the inside, I need my butterfly. And so I'm going to take my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. You have more than enough for all of this stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to stamp him. Cute little butterfly. And then I colored it. I came in with the light Calypso Coral, kind of just coming in along this edge, just to kind of get a pretty butterfly. Not so sure this isn't a moth, but you know, he's still pretty. And I'm going to use Petal Pink, which is the same color as my base. Kind of blend it a little bit. And then I'm going to follow that up with a light Petal Pink. In here. I think you could use this card for a get well, a birthday, just a thinking of you. There's all kinds of things you could send this card for. And so then you would cut all of these images out using, again, those coordinating dies. They line up perfectly onto your stamped images, and so you can get them cut out. You also will want to strip, I didn't tell you that when I was talking about my frame, but from this decorative piece, and I cut that also from just a scrap piece of our Calypso Coral. So, because I don't want you to have to sit and watch me cut all those pieces out. So here's that piece I just told you about. I have my flower. I have my butterfly. I've cut my image for on the front. And then from some Pear Pizzazz scraps, and again, I'd use some adhesive sheet on the back, I cut some of these smaller little elements from the dies, and then a butterfly out of the Petal Pink. So we're just going to set those up here for now. Now we're going to deal with stamping on this background piece that you're going to see through where that butterfly lines up. So I'm going to ink up my image again, my leaves, and I'm going to come up, like about so, full strength. Then I'm going to come to the side, and I'm going to come to the side It gets lighter as I go. And then I'm going to ink it up again. Again, full strength. And I want to come over here. And then I might actually come just a little lower to fill in those spaces. And see how that just kind of starts to fill in without inking more and more and more. Gives a very simple background. So we're done with our mossy meadow. And then I can stick on here my little butterfly because I want all of this on before I finish up my card. So I'm going to pull off again with my pick tool. It works so well for taking this adhesive sheet off the back. And then I've got a couple little areas I need to pop out. All right. And I want to just line up my butterfly. I don't know, I'm thinking up here. Like so. I can get this piece out of the way. Then I can show you how we're going to align everything up. You also will want to use either some multi-purpose liquid glue, or I just prefer mini glue dots. So I'm going to take my little strip, you can hardly see it, of window sheet. I'm going to line it up, grab a glue dot on one end, I'm going to come just a little higher, grab another glue dot on this end. I want to keep those here. Turn it over, line up my glue dots. That way my butterfly is ready. Then I'm going to fold these pieces in and get out my bone folder. Like so. This piece is going to go in the front. So then I'm going to fold this in half. Again, this was only scored right in the middle. Then I'm going to fold this top piece over. Now, before I get everything else put together, I'm going to grab all of my, so like here, get how everything goes together. I'm going to take my basic black again, or it's not basic black, goodness, that's been from years ago, my tuxedo black Memento ink, and I want to line up my hugs, prayers, and love, and I just want it to kind of come off on this side over here. So line up here, stamp that, and I also am going to want on the inside to stamp, but I'm going to wait because when I connect this on the front, that will end up being in the way. So let's show you how simple all this goes together. I'm going to use just mono or liquid glue. You could use some of our Terran tape, but liquid glue gives you just a little more wiggle room, and it still dries every bit as secure. You could also use our Stampin' Seal Plus. So what I want to do is come line up this flap to the top. Like so. Get it nice and secure. Then I'm going to put a little adhesive on this lower flap. I'm afraid my glue, if I squeeze too hard, you know how that goes? Then you get a puddle almost from squeezing. So let's spread this around. There we go. Take a little of it off. There we go. Then when I fold it, I'm going to fold it flat. This way, fold it flat. And if I did everything like I'm supposed to, and I did, that lines everything up for me. And see here, I've got a little bit of a wiggle, but it's a good thing because it allows me to shift, where if I'd have used a different type of adhesive, I would have been a little different. So I'm going to fold it over, crease again on both ends, make sure everything is lined up, open up again, so I got it nice and flat. Okay, and I should have, before I put that down, stuck it in here, but we can get it on. Some things you remember well when you're not in front of people. So I'm going to slide it in. It's going to come centered on this back piece, which is easier for me to see and probably harder for you. But it's not the impossible. Just makes it a little challenging. I think so, but see, if you do that, then, so you want to put that in first. But if you don't, you can do like I did. And then I'm going to take my little butterfly. Again, I probably should have done him before I put everything down. All I'm going to do is come in and grab on the front side a glue dot. And let's see if I can grab. I want to do a couple of them. I don't want to go too high. Grab a couple on the front. I'm going to pull in where I want him to line up to. Like so. Squeeze. So then you see where you can see seeing the diorama in the other side. Okay. Then I can stamp my greeting on the inside, which is what I was trying to talk about earlier. I'm a little disjointed today. Too many weeks off. I had a family reunion the end of June, and it's just been busy. So I'll line up. It says inside here, friends like you mean more every year. Like so. Okay, and then it's a matter of just decorating everything. So to kind of disguise this fold, Bonnie had used a strip of cardstock, which also, or not cardstock, a piece of designer series paper, which also would work. We always have those little scraps that we need to use. But I'm going to put this little image, because this die set had this beautiful filigree. Thought it made the most sense. So I'm just going to pull my backing off. Again, you could use glue, but this adhesive sheet just makes so much more sense. And I want to make sure it's centered, so I'll scoot it over just a little. That's pretty close. And then I want to put adhesive on the back of my leaves here. And again, the glue just, for me, works easiest. So then I'm going to line up on the front. And then I want to attach a couple of these. So again, I'll pull out my pick tool, pull off this adhesive sheet on the back. Like so. And then I'm going to tip it and put it here. And then I've got the larger one. Use the pick tool and just pull back that adhesive sheet. And I can stick it kind of coming. Oh, I'm thinking I want to kind of come like so. And then I'm going to take and put just a couple dimensionals, Stampin' dimensionals on the back of my flower. Yeah, let's do 3. 2 would have probably been enough, but 3. Pull them off, those backs, and then I'm going to tip it a little, and I want to offset just enough to where I've got it on the front, not too thick again. but I get a sweet little card that's going to fold easy for mailing, and it put together fairly quick. You could do all kinds of images on the inside of this card. So thank you for joining me. I hope that if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you would consider doing so, and that you would click on that bell so you don't miss videos when they are released. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.